Good afternoon and welcome to the Glendale Housing Authority meeting of June 30th, 2009. May we have the roll call, please?
Authority members Draymond.
Here.
Friedman.
Here.
Mincy.
Here.
Parazian.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Chairman Najarian.
Here. May we have your report?
The agenda for the June 30, 2009 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, June 25, 2009 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. Do we have any minutes?
There are no minutes.
No minutes. And the next item, then?
Item 5 are oral communications. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Members of the Housing Authority may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The matter may be referred to staff through the Executive Director for investigation and report.
Thank you. I have one card from Herbert Milano.
I think that was
item 6A. Sorry about that. I have no cards, then, for oral communications. I will close oral communications. Let's move to the next item.
At item 6A, Acting Director of Community Development and Housing regarding proposed affordable multifamily rental housing project to be located at 1814 Vassar Avenue. At 6-1A is a motion authorizing revision to the source of funds and approving the loan modification agreements for the Vassar City Lights project from redevelopment set-aside funds to home funds. And at 6A2 is a resolution appropriating $2,166,090 to revise project funding source and categories.
Thank you. Mr. Starbird?
Yes, Mr. Chair. This is a recommendation to modify the loan agreements on the Vassar City Lights project to allow us to utilize a portion of our home funds in lieu of the committed 80% tax increment funds. The numbers are $2,166,000 and $90,000 to the revised project funding categories as outlined in the staff report.
Okay. I do have a speaker. Why don't we hear from Mr. Milano at this time?
Good afternoon, Authority Chair Najarian and members of the Housing Authority. My name is Herbert Milano. When this project came before you for funding or for the approval of funding, at the time I made a couple of observations. One of them was that the apparent cost per foot for this particular project was upwards of $400 a square foot. I can't remember precisely the number now. And also at the time of the funding, I also brought up my concern about the apparent lack of energy conservation efforts for this project. I know this is not as relevant with regard to this minor approval change that you're making, but it's the one opportunity I have to address those two particular issues concerning trying to get some disclosure with regard to the actual final cost per square foot of this particular project. Because it's an easy way for those of us who are lay people with regard to these complex instruments for us to understand what is costing the taxpayer eventually. And with regard to the smart meter, at the time, Mr. Draymond had announced that the developer was planning to put smart meters on this particular project. I didn't know back then that the cost of electricity for residential usage was so high that it was one of the highest in all of California, about 16 cents per kilowatt hour. And at the time, because this was a project aimed for low-income families, that having the smart meters would actually turn out to be easily a 20% reduction in those costs to them. And so I thought I perhaps take this opportunity to get perhaps a status report if that actually came to fruition, if there are smart meters being implemented in this particular project, so that we can give an additional break to the future residents of this particular project, and also for reducing our greenhouse emissions. Thank you very much.
Okay. Can anyone speak to the commitment, actually the item Mr. Draymond raised last week or during one of our discussions?
Originally, back when they were first here and we were giving recommendations on the project.
Right. So can you confirm there was a suggestion that smart meters would be installed in this at the cost of the developer?
Yes.
Can you give us an update on that?
Chairman Najarian, actually I want to turn it over to Mike Fortney, the project manager. He's got the details on the
My recollection, Mr. Chair, is that the meters are going in on the subsequent project. but I don't know if that's so.
I think this is the subsequent.
This is the subsequent project.
Yes, this is
I think
Vassar.
that the original recommendation, I know Mr. Milano isn't up there, he's seated there now, but the original recommendation, I believe, was on the previous project, and the attempt was to do it then and there, but they were not able to do that, and I think it's going into this project.
Yeah, there will be. I'm Mike Ford with the Housing Project Manager. I also just wanted to mention, too, that the project, this project here and the one next door, are actually fairly green projects. The Title 24 reports, these are coming in 15 to 25% over Title 24. So we're speaking specifically to the energy efficiency. The buildings are very efficient. And both this project and the project next door you go and take a look, the roof is completely lined with photovoltaic. I mean, they're not installed yet, but all the wiring is there. I believe 1.6, 1.8 K systems each. So these are very green projects. We have a Green Point rater that is looking at both of these projects, and at least preliminarily, it looks very good that these projects will be Green Point rated. So, and then I'm more than happy to get the cost per square foot on this project to answer that question.
And the smart meters are included
Smart meters
in
as
the
well.
second, in the Vassar project.
Yeah, I believe Metro Loma was in as well. I could double check on that, but I believe Metro Loma had smart meters as well. In fact, all of our affordable housing projects that are in construction right now are planned to have the smart meters.
Okay, and the issue before us today is a reallocation of funds between the redevelopment set-aside and the federal home funds.
That's right.
Right.
No net change to the
No.
project, or it's basically an accounting adjustment.
That's right.
It actually allows us to use our most restricted money first in the form of the home money.
Okay, are there any comments from the agency?
I'll move A1 and 2.
Second.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, let's take roll call.
Authority members Draymond,
Yes.
Friedman.
Yes.
Mincy.
Yes.
Horazian.
Yes.
Quintero.
Yes.
Weaver.
Aye.
Chairman Najarian.
Yes. And let's see what we have left. Authority members and staff comments. Any comments? There are no
Yeah.
Mr. Draymond.
I just wanted to make this comment with regard to, again, the smart meters. I mean, tangentially, smart meters. Sometimes there's perception that that when the council is sitting on this dais in whatever form, as council members or authority members or agency members, that sometimes the input and suggestion from public and you, Mr. Milano, is not heard or we're not listening. But that request, speaking of which, with regard to the smart metering, came about. The reason that this authority asked the builder to do that was because of your suggestion. That's why I asked, because of your suggestion. And the fact that it empowers the residents there to help themselves to lower their own costs if they have a mind to. And so anyway, I just wanted to mention that though we do have our problems, we do listen occasionally at least. So anyway, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. If there's anything else, I'll take a motion.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
The authority is adjourned.
Take care of yourself. Make sure you listen tonight to see if you get the required votes.